Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna draw a dick.
Oh,
They drew a penis. It did it so perfect.
why do you start it off like this? You are a terrible human being.
You better look at these sound waves when that happened. Like when you're like,
I'd rather
fixing
not.
audio. You will. Yes.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's a fantastic start to the very first episode of the Paradise Podcast.
Yeah. Is it the intro?
Anyway, well, I guess so. I'm just going to leave it in there. Who cares?
Yes.
Anyway, I'm Bullet. This is Brooks. And
Hello.
We're doing the very first episode of the Paradise Podcast. Something new that we decided to start. And a good way to start off this first episode would be to sort of go back and explain the origin of Paradise Perceptions itself. I guess Brooks, since you're more orgy than I am,
Yes.
you can
Thank you for admitting
explain
it.
more.
All right. So, yes, I'm one of the original, I guess you could say, founders of Paradise Perceptions, not the original team of Paradise. So I'll just kind of go through some things. The editing side of Paradise, so Paradise Perceptions, was started from an Instagram group. Me and a couple of the other guys that used to be in the old Ninja Team Paradise. If you don't know about all that, there's a playlist on our channel if you want to go see some of our old cringy days. Most of us left the team of ninjas, and we just went to editing on our own channels, and we still were really good friends. And eventually we made this group message on Instagram back in the day, and it was just called Editors. And we eventually were like, we need a place just to, kind of put all of our edits in one location. And that's when we decided to go back to the Paradise channel because no one was using it. And that's what started making Paradise Perceptions. There are some editors that aren't that active anymore. One of the originals that isn't that active is HNC. His name's Christian. He's just really busy. That's why y'all haven't probably been seeing much of him. He's been doing a whole lot of things, but I'm not going to elaborate on that in case he doesn't want anyone to know. And yeah, there's a couple other guys, but most of us are all still, around. Just might not be able to edit. And yeah, so I guess we're going to carry on to start talking about some of the future things that are going to be happening in Paradise.
Yeah, so guess a good start would be the origin, which we kind of went over. So now that you know about that, we kind of want to go into what we're going to be doing with, I guess you can call it a brand. I don't know. The Paradise Perceptions brand.
Sounds way too formal, but yeah, that's
I know,
a better word.
You get it. You get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of, well, mostly you were the one who came up with these, and I just sort of made them more concrete.
Because you're more organized than I am.
I guess so. Anyway, so we had a few more things that we plan on doing on the channel itself, and just so we're just gonna mainly go over these changes for the first episode, and we'll possibly explain how future episodes will be later on. So I guess to start off with that, for the future of Paradise Perceptions, I guess people should know what sparked the sort of desire to make these changes in the first place, compared to what we've been doing for now was basically just re-uploads. So what sort of made you want to change and do more with Paradise Perceptions?
Well, it's kind of obvious. If you look at the channel, most of our edits when we upload on here don't get as many views or comments or all that kind of stuff, which does, that's not what we really care about, but it makes no sense just to have a place where we upload edits that are already a couple weeks old or something like that. Because who wants to watch an edit on my channel and then a couple weeks later watch it again? If they've already seen it a couple times or whatever, it just doesn't really, it doesn't really draw people in or seem like that much, it has that much of a point other than just being, the status of you're in Paradise, which isn't even a big deal. So I wanted to...
It is a big deal in the Halo community, alright?
Okay. But so I was wanting to make it have more meaning, make it have better content for give people a reason to want to come to our channel and watch our videos. And so there's a bunch of things that we're going to be changing and adding to Paradise, which are going to be pretty exciting. Some things that'll be for you guys, some things I'll be changing for our members specifically. And we have a good long list of stuff that we're going to go through, which most of our, I believe all of our members are already aware of it. And everything should be put into motion as soon as this video is uploaded. So just be thinking about that as we go through all of these.
Yeah, so first item on that list in terms of new changes that we'll be doing with Paradise Receptions is, of course, podcasts. So instead of making an announcement video and then starting episode 1 for the podcast, we figured we'd just combine them both and use that first episode as the announcement.
Yeah.
So every so often we'll have, well, not really every so often, because I mean, even for this first episode, it was hard to actually do it.
Yeah,
we've been wanting to do this for a long time.
People. It's kind of, I hope you guys can understand. It's just sometimes really hard for us to organize all this stuff. I mean, I'm just a college student, technically. So is Lucas, and so is a whole lot of. It's just pretty busy.
University and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And we don't even have time. Well, I guess that's kind of extreme, but we have less time than we used to have for making edits for our own channels, so it's going to be a bit harder to sort of manage Paradise Perceptions at the same time, but it's still something that we want to do. So we'll be having podcasts every now and then. It's not going to be like set on a schedule, like every single month we'll have an episode, but just whenever we can get like 2-3 people together, then we'll just make another episode. For the first few, we figured we'd only keep it internal, so we're gonna just have Paradise Perceptions members, and then depending on how it goes, maybe in like the 3rd or 4th episode we might have guests on, and of course the guests are sort of tricky topic here, because I mean, we want to keep the podcast focused on mainly editing and gaming, but you know, we can always go off topic every now and then, but that kind of restricts the type of guests that we may have on, because for example, you're not going to have a non-editor on, or you could, but I mean, it's something that we would have to look at in the future. So for now, we're just focusing on just Paradise Perceptions members.
Yeah, if we were to have people on that, like we have to make sure that if we were to have a guest, then we would be able to relate with them on certain topics that would make sense to talk about on our channel. Because like if we just pull on someone who doesn't know anything about editing and any points of, like, if we ever make a point about an edit or something like that, there's going to really be no reason for them to be there if they can't help us expound on their view of that. But we probably will have some, like you said, we'll have some situations where we might do that, but we're just going to have to work into this to where everything gets to be more fluent and comfortable, and we have a better idea of how this is going to pan out. And also, before we carry on, just know that we don't get a crazy amount of comments, so we read every single one of them. If you guys have any like ideas about about what you want us to do, or something that you think would be more entertaining or interesting, just leave that down below. That doesn't mean that we're gonna do it, and like we don't like, but we will take it into consideration, and we're very open to ideas, because I mean, this is about trying to reach you guys more and be more of an entertaining place. So yeah, so just please leave your ideas down below, or talk to us in our Discord in any way you can. We'll be happy to listen to all the feedback.
And of course, this is the first episode, so not only that, but we'll be throwing out a lot more stuff in terms of feedback to ask you guys. Actually, one of my next points was this. So the layout you guys are most likely watching right now, you could probably tab out and just listen while you do other stuff, but I made this new layout, and I kind of want to get your guys' feedback on it, if ever you even care about it. Like, do you care about the gameplay? I call it the sort of video box. So in that video box, it's not necessarily supposed to be gameplay. It could be other things. Like, we could maybe feature an edit of yours up there. We can put, I don't know, tutorials or something like that. It's not necessarily supposed to be gameplay, but whatever interests you to sort of watch while you listen to us, just leave it in the comments, and we can add it if ever. Another thing, if you're interested in, I've seen this before in some other podcasts where they have this layout where you can sort of click on time skips. So depending on the subject that we're talking about at a certain time, I don't know how long on average these podcasts would be, maybe like 40 minutes, an hour. But if you're interested in like time skips to sort of just skip to whatever you're interested in, let us know as well. I could probably add that to the layout.
Yeah, and I think that would be really cool. And on the whole tutorial thing, like, of course, we're not going to have like other audio going on, but it would just be like, say, me making like some sort of effect in an edit, and it'd be just like, off to the side. And if you wanted to see that, you could, which would be pretty cool. And there's some other things that we could do. We've had some ideas like something called comment of the day. And that would be where like at the end of a podcast or something, like, we would pick a comment and discuss whatever it is. So it would just give more like a direct connection to you guys. So whatever you all just want to, say to us, like just leave it down below, and we could just, talk about it in the next video, and you can hear our direct reaction to it.
Last point about the podcast, I believe, is that you can find it on iTunes, YouTube, and we were thinking about SoundCloud as well. Basically wherever you guys listen to, if ever you don't want it on YouTube. Before we release each of these, we'll make sure that all these links are available to you guys, so you have the most mediums possible. It doesn't have to be strictly be YouTube. I know sometimes like you don't want it to eat your data if you're on your phone or whatever, so we'll make sure to have those links as well.
All right, so I guess moving on to the next thing that we're going to be changing is I saw it and I was about to laugh. It's treating the brand more seriously.
I forgot.
Lucas has put
okay, I'll put it on later.
We're looking at a document currently of things that we're wanting to touch on, and Lucas has decided to put in the dude from the Baku video memes. What's his name?
To him.
What? Don't get swept up. It's AKA
Lil Broomstick.
All right, so sorry. Please put that up on the video so we just don't sound like idiots. But yeah, treating the brand, like again, quotes around brand, more seriously. One big thing that we're wanting to change is the submission workflow. So like we know that like it's really hard for us to notice sometimes when we get an app because it goes to our email, and I'm not always signed in to that email, so I don't get a notification when we get an application. And so like we've noticed that sometimes we'll miss one for a while and we don't get to reply. And in some cases, I even know someone submitted and we didn't have an answer yet within like a week, and for some reason I don't know if they just didn't like their submission anymore and they took it down, and I hate that. I hate that we didn't get to get back with them. And so we're going to be putting a much greater attention into our application forms. So if anyone is wanting to apply, we will be getting back to you a lot more promptly, and we'll make sure to leave a comment on your video about your acceptance or denial, but either way we'll be sure to get back faster and have answers quicker.
So sorry, another thing moving on with sort of taking the brand more seriously was and sort of upgrade to the graphics as well, because I mean how old was that first one?
What do you mean, the banner?
The banner that was like so bad.
Adam made that literally when we said let's go back to the Paradise channel when we were talking in the Instagram group chat. He said I'll make something, and then Jack made the logo, the Paradise logo, and then Adam made that, and we just haven't changed it, or we hadn't past tense. So
essentially I went ahead and sort of made it more consistent everywhere. So you'll notice on our Twitter, not the Discord really, but I mean basically anywhere where Paradise is, I updated how we look, how we hope you guys like that, by the way. Why are you doing ASMR now?
Going over the lot.
I can't even hear you.
But yeah, Lucas did an incredible job with the GFX. It looks really, really nice, and it actually, I think, matches the background animation for this video, so claps in the chat. And more on the Twitter, Lucas technically can do stuff on it, but most of the time me and me alone will be the one behind the Twitter, After this video is up, one of the big things I'm going to be doing to help make Paradise do a little bit better is I'm going to be making the Twitter a lot more active. I'll be posting updates on there, and whenever a video's up or just regular tweets, it'll be a lot more active. There will be an actual reason to follow it. So if you want to know more about Paradise, what's going on, or all that kind of stuff, make sure to follow our account. It'll be in the description for sure.
And also, if we announce new members or anything, or contests again, we'll actually get into the contest later on here, but we'll just make it so that, like you said, you'll have a reason to follow it.
Yeah, because right now
it's
there's
not
really
just
no
going to be, but it used to just be like random quotes and memes that
pretty
whoever
much
had that access to the account used to do.
Yeah, don't worry. It is all clean and polished now. So moving on, I guess, or do you have anything else to say? You good to move on?
Yeah, we can talk about the other stuff.
All right. So here's another idea, which is pretty simple. I thought about this. We were going to be doing edit showcases, and so what we're going to do is we are going to just pretty much feature your edits, and this adds more content to the channel. So that way, again, it's just not re-uploading our edits. So we're going to have a new text channel in our Discord. So join that down below. Just shameless plug. And we'll have a showcase text channel. And so just, post your link your edits in there. No, nothing else will be in that chat. Just you posting your edits in there, and then we will pick whichever one we think would deserve it. And we don't know if we're going to be doing that per week or per 2 weeks. It depends on how many submissions we get, and then we'll judge on how often we can do it from there. But your edit will be uploaded. We'll have a link to your channel, pretty much just like a shout out. It'll be a whole lot of fun. Get a whole lot more Halo editor or any editor names out there. I'm really looking forward to that.
Another thing is, you shouldn't take it as like an app. Like, you can submit it without trying to get into Paradise. Like, we can just feature it as is. And another thing is, in the Discord, it's separate because we don't want to confuse it with the regular poster content that we have. Because in every other server, poster content's usually just like a link dump where you just share whatever. But this one is specifically for linking stuff that you want us to upload to the channel to feature it.
Yeah, and you putting it in there is not a guarantee. It might be, depending on like if we don't get a lot of submissions and we're still wanting to do it. Obviously we might pick yours if yours is the only one in there, but if we get like a certain amount, we will have to pick one. But don't be discouraged if yours doesn't get chosen. Eventually, I'm sure most people will have an opportunity to be uploaded.
Yeah, so moving on to more stuff we'll be doing on our channel is quote-unquote exclusive content, because the way I was looking at it, I'm not sure if that's how you viewed it, but our channel was essentially just a re-upload hub.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we would just upload the old edits and there was nothing new. So something that I felt that we should have done was have exclusive content on there. So it's not necessarily like exclusive edits, like if I make an edit, it'll only be on that channel, but I've done that before in like Chaotix and stuff, and that didn't really turn out well because then my own channel was inactive. But let's just ignore. I didn't say anything, all right?
Okay.
I didn't say anything. But yeah, so just a few ideas we were kind of throwing at each other. So, we could do stuff like custom game nights and sort of upload the highlights of that. There are some rare times where we find ourselves on Halo 5 for some reason and just have fun in snipe lobbies and stuff. So if ever,
quote unquote have
that's
fun.
Something, yeah, quote unquote have fun. But the only time you ever have fun in Halo 5 is like custom. So
that's true.
If ever like we're somehow playing a game and we sort of invite everyone in our Discord and we could do highlights of that, for example.
And how would you guys feel about maybe some other, like not just Halo? We'll probably only be doing Halo if we do them for a couple times, but if y'all are interested in seeing some of the other games that we enjoy playing, like say Rocket League, or mainly just Rocket League at the moment, but like we play a lot of other games pretty regularly, and we have a whole lot of fun on those. If you would like to see some content from all the Paradise guys through that, we could probably do something like that as well. So just let us know what you think about that in the comments.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me. We also like our first ever thing was Fortnite stream too. So
Yeah, we had a
that's
Fortnite stream.
something that we could do. So
Yeah.
streaming is something that we also might be doing more in the future because I mean Fortnite's a lot of fun when you're in a squad and stuff. So
Yeah, and I'm building my computer soon, and so I should be able to stream at pretty good quality for Fortnite and any other PC game.
and I don't even think we ever mentioned that we were sort of trying to move away from Halo specifically, as
Yes.
in like just the content that we upload on Paradise. Well, it's not that we hate Halo, but we just want to expand and not be sort of seen as this Halo editing team. We just want to be seen as an editing team. So we're sort of pushing more, expanding our content. You'll be seeing like IRL from, I think Jack and Jay Jay's been doing it for a while, but Jack has been getting into IRL stuff as well. So you may see that more on our channel.
Yeah, it's just, and like you'll still probably know us as the team that like is a like based Halo team. Like most of us are still only going to be editing Halo. Like me, I don't really enjoy editing any other game, and I do edit IRL every now and then though. But just be like we aren't wanting our team just to be held down by this. So like if someone apps on another game because they want to be like they seem like they're cool guys, they feel like they're up to our standards, like we might accept them, and that would be a different kind of content on the channel. And personally I'm looking forward to that, because it just makes people feel like they're not just kind of trapped within this only area that they can participate in, but also with people applying with different games, like let's just say the one that's obvious, Call of Duty, most CODs like BO2 or something like that. It's a lot easier to edit those games because multiple things that I'm not going to go into at the moment, that'll just take way too long. So judging those for applications and such would be held to a lot higher standards. So I don't think that we're just accepting anybody that comes forth. Like we'll be sure to judge things with a head on our shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. So, what was I missing here? So, yeah, team edits. That's something. It's basically become a meme in our Discord right now. Because I think I think I was the one who suggested that.
Well, we've been talking about that since even before you were, dude. Back with Christian and all them, we were all wanting to do them. It always gets brought up, and then we always just never do it. It's just really hard to get a whole group of editors together, like when you're as like busy and lazy as us.
Busy and lazy.
Busy and lazy at the same time. It happens. It happens.
Anyway, so yeah, that's team edits are. Just at least one team edit is something that I've been wanting to doing ever since I infiltrated the system.
We'll probably tell that story.
I never officially joined. Okay, we can keep that story for another time though.
Yeah. We'll just, that's a funny story. We'll talk about that we'll save that for another topic. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So, another thing would be sort of, I think you suggested this one, monthly tutorials. Not necessarily the monthly, but sort of just getting tutorials on basically anything.
Yeah, and this would be exclusive to the channel. So like we would just make. Sometimes it might be really complex, sometimes it might be basic. We don't really want to like spam tutorials that you can find anywhere else, but maybe it's just some things that we found that you can do that we think are pretty interesting, and we would like to touch on. But if you do want to see like how we do some other things, if you want to know how I do my pan crop or something like that, I can go in detail on that. And we would just be uploading those to the channel.
It could also, it's not supposed to be generic either. I mean, it could be specific to, for example, Halo. Like there's maybe a specific effect or something, or just
like how we can
workflow
better
in Halo.
Like yeah. There could be that has a lot of flexibility. So if you guys would be interested in that, I think we plan to do a good bit of at least a little bit of that. So be looking forward to it.
And yeah, we will still be doing the usual re-uploads of Paradise members' edits, but it's just no longer going to be the only thing on the channel.
Yeah.
And the last thing in this exclusive content is the contest that we've been doing for, how long has it been? A year now?
Oh god,
I forget. It's been a while.
we hosted one with Chaotix. That was our first one, and that was.
Yeah, I don't count that one though.
You don't count that one? Okay, if you don't count
I'm talking about like our own hosted one that we started. I forget when we did that though. When it really started.
Spring. Was it spring?
Anyway, doesn't matter. So, contests. Let's get into that one. That's a bit complicated, I guess.
Oh yeah. Are you wanting to talk about? Are you wanting to? Oh wait, we already talked about we already had a video up on that.
I don't think so. But anyway, we'll say it anyway. Doesn't matter. So I'm just going to explain the origin of the Paradise Perceptions contest, because this is something I wanted to have for a while. Ever since Chaotix and Paradise teamed up to do it, I was like, no, we're doing our own thing now. So I kind of like took it and made it into our own thing. So I wanted to do this because there wasn't really any activity going on in any Halo editing, you know? There'd be a few every now and then, but there was never really any incentive to edit, I guess. Whereas ever since we've been doing these contests, we see a huge burst of huge, quote unquote huge for Halo.
I mean, you go from only having like 2 new Halo edits a month versus literally getting like 40 submissions. Like Halo edits are just, just popping up all over the place.
Yeah, we get like multiple submissions from the same people too. So, and I find it's a good thing because it gives you a reason to actually edit, and it gives you a reason to edit Halo too. Mm-hmm. And of course, with every contest, you get better by doing more, and you get to see how we think of your edit, and we can give you pointers more and let you improve. So then overall, Halo editing is better as a whole for the entire community. Whereas if we didn't do these at all, then, I mean, I'm not saying that like it's because of us that Halo editing is amazing.
Yeah, we're not trying to be full of ourselves or anything. We're just saying it is a good way to spark some activity in this community.
It just makes Halo editing less boring.
Exactly. Gives it a reason.
And it was supposed to be a seasonal thing, so basically 4 contests per year. But after a while, we kind of chopped that down to 2, because we figured if we focused on just having 2, that would give us more time to focus on prereqs and reviewing and everything, and letting you guys edit the actual submissions, because if you have 4, that gives you a lot less time to participate in each one. So if you only have 2, it's a lot more concentrated, and you have a lot more freedom to work on your edits.
All right.
Yeah, because I mean, for the fall contest that we were supposed to do, we kind of rushed on that, and that's we were like a day before we were supposed to announce it, and we didn't even finish the prereqs yet. So to avoid stuff like that, we don't want to rush these contests. We just want to make sure that they're well organized from now on. So that's why we only have 2.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be summer and winter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, summer and winter. All right, so future podcast episodes. We know that there is another Halo podcast going on in the community, hosted by Apple or Execrated. I don't know who's actually doing it. I think Apple wasn't originally, and then now Execrated is doing it because Apple is in college. I don't know. One of the two. They did just make another episode the other day, but they went a while without it. But all of that, saying all of that, we're not trying to outright copy them. However, one of the things that they talked about was an edit versus a montage, and that was from the perspective of people who edit montages. And we're thinking about making a topic of one of those, so that could be another podcast episode, edit versus montages from our perspective. No hate towards any of them. I'm sure all of them know that I'm cool with them. They're great guys. It's just there's differences between the two things, and a whole lot of people in the Halo community don't understand that, and it really needs to be clarified. And it doesn't need to be a source of hate. It just needs to be a source of more things that you can do with this game. It's not something that there's no right or wrong to either one of them. So that whole stereotype needs to be cast aside. And we're going to be asking viewers what they want to hear. Like I said, if you guys have anything that y'all want us to talk about, please comment that or get in touch with us. We would love to get some ideas. We already have a bunch that we don't have listed in here. So don't think that we have no ideas, but we'll probably be taking most people's advice on things. So just let us know what you would like to hear, and we'll be sure to try to work that in. A couple other ideas that we have been thinking about, just a few, would be like, say, ranking Halo games C to 5 and talking about our reasons for that. What we would want in Halo 6, that could be all in one episode. Pretty much, it doesn't have to be super formal. This is supposed to just be like a casual, like hanging out, especially when we get more Paradise members in. I mean, this episode was probably much more formal than what the future ones will be, at least on some topics. Like, we want this to be entertaining and not just like an information dump. So just be like linking some things that you'd like to hear our perspective on.
I mean, the first episode is, of course, more of an information dump, but from now on, you won't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Also, another thing I wanted to add for the that first podcast idea, the editing versus montaging thing. Mm-hmm. The reason I thought of doing that, and I didn't want to, come as if I'm copying them for doing this episode, but it was because that episode actually caused some little drama over here.
Yeah.
That it dissipated really quickly, but I mean, it still caused a bit of drama. And I felt that the montagers got their own perspective on what edits were, but we as editors were not able to share our perspective on what editing is, because I mean, the perspective that montagers saw of editors was basically in their comments, which was really bad.
Yeah, that was
so. I think it's important to make an episode to share our perspective on that.
Yeah, during all of that, just a side note, I had reached out. I reached out to all of those guys, and I had a couple tweets about it. Everything's all good, like, now, by the way. If for some reason, I don't know why you would, but if you thought that there was still drama between like us and Apple, there isn't. He's a cool guy. There's just differences between what we do. And don't think that anything from that video like represents what Halo editors are, or any editing. And whenever we have a video about that, we'll talk about all of that in extent. So be ready for that one.
Yeah, so I mean, this is pretty much it for the information dump of the first episode. If ever you're interested in being part of this podcast, I guess you could leave a comment if you want to suggest more future episodes on what you would like to hear us talk about. Let us know as well in the comments. This is it's a first step into changing our quote unquote brand.
Mm-hmm. Quote unquote.
So a lot of feedback is really going to help us out on how we are going to set the path for how Paradise Perceptions is going to be in the future. So without your help, it's going to be a lot harder. Because we won't know what exactly you guys want to see from us.
Yeah.
So
just in the end, just know a lot of things are happening with this team, and all of it good. And so just stick around and be expecting a whole lot more from us.
Yeah. So that is it for the first episode. See you guys in the next one.
Later.